In 3-6, we're solving equations involving rational numbers. So you know how to solve an equation. We're just going to be focusing on the fact that we have decimals and fractions in these equations now. Look at example 1. In A, you want to get y by itself, so the opposite of adding would be subtracting. You would be taking away 23.4 from both sides. Now when you look at that right side of the equation, we can see that we have a minus 52 or a negative 52, and then you have a minus or a negative 23.4. Either way, whether you see them as minus signs or negatives, the signs are the same. So you're actually going to add those numbers, keep that sign. Remember, we add decimals by lining up the decimal points. So I'm going to put a decimal in 52. 0 plus 4 is 4. The decimals are lined up. 2 plus 3 is 5, and 5 plus 2 is 7. So the 23.4s cancel on the left. We're left with y equals negative 75 and 4/10. You can leave your answer as a decimal since the problem you started with has a decimal. Let's take a look at B. In problem B, K is what we want to isolate, and we see this minus 2/9, so on both sides I would add 2/9. You know how to solve an equation. You know you want to undo order of operations. The part that we're using chapter 3 knowledge for is doing this math, actually adding or subtracting those fractions. So on the left, these 2/9 cancel. We drop down the k. We have a plus k, but since that's just a positive k, we don't need that plus sign anymore. And then what's negative 5/9 plus 2/9? We're doing this right here. Well, they already have a common denominator, so you can keep the ninths. And you have negative 5 plus 2, so that's a negative 3/9. We do need to simplify this answer, so take it one step farther. We can take out a 3 from both of these numbers, and you're left with k equals negative 1/3. Okay, great. So I showed you example 1. I want you to try example 2, and then press play on the video after you've tried example 2 to go over them with me. All right, you've tried example 2. Let's go over them together. To get t by itself, we would subtract 4/13 from both sides. When we subtract 4/13, here on the right side, we're going to have to get a common denominator. I do like to take that work kind of sideways off to the side over here. So I'm going to just show my work over here. We have 12/39, and we're taking away 4/13. I can multiply the second fraction by 3 to get a common denominator. So I'd have 12/39 minus 12/39. Well, 12/39 minus 12/39 is 0, right? So take that 0 back over into your equation. You would have these canceling. You would have t equals 0. T can't equal 0. That is an answer. So you have t equals 0 for A. For problem B, in order to get r by itself, we would be adding 17.9 to both sides. Make sure you line up those decimal points when you show that work. They cancel on the left. You pull down the r, you pull down the equals. We add the 8 and the 9, carry the 1. We add the 4. Put down the 4, carry the 1. And we get r equals 54 and 7/10. For example 3, in order to get f by itself, you would divide by negative 6.3. You're going to do that on both sides. So take this math and do it over on the side. We have to do 44.1 divided by negative 6.3. Well, I know a positive divided by negative is going to equal negative, so I'm going to put that negative down. And then I'm putting 44 on the inside and the 6.3 on the outside. Remember, you like to move the decimal first to make that a whole number on the outside. Then you move the decimal on the inside to make it match. So we're really doing 63 going into 441. All right, so 63 doesn't fit into 4, 63 doesn't fit into 44, but 63 does fit into 441. You can estimate 63 to be about 60, or so think about how many times 60 would go into about 450. Well, 60 times 4 would be 240. 60 times 7 would be about 420. 60 times 8 would be about 480. So it seems like it's probably going to fit in 7 times. And that is true. 63 times 7 is 441. So we put the 7 on top. We get the 441. We subtract and get our remainder of 0, which leads us to our answer over here being -7. Don't forget that you had that negative sign. So coming back to our equation, these cancel and you're left with f equals -7. On B, in order to get D by itself, so D is being multiplied by 5/8. In order to undo that, we would divide both sides by 5/8. Again, you can show your work over here, but let's take that to the right of it and actually do that division. So we would have 6/18 divided by 5/8, which is the same as 6/18 times 8/5. So I'm going to cross out some numbers. I'm going to simplify in these fractions. I can simplify. I'm going to take out a 6 from both 6 and 18. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 18 divided by 6 is 3. Now when I multiply straight across, I have 1 times 8 is 8, and 3 times 5 is 15. Way easier than doing 18 times 5. 8, I can take out a 2 or a 4 or an 8, but I can't take any of those numbers out of 15, so I'm going to take that answer back over to my equation now. The 5/8 cancel, I'm left with D equals, and I got 8/15 as my answer. So try example 4, then press play to go over these two with me, but I want you to try them first on your own and then press play in the video. Okay, so you've tried example 4. Let's go over them. On both sides for A, you would multiply by 3.2. I like to do the math off to the side, so I'd have 6 times, I'm going to put the 3.2 on top. 6 times 2 is 12, carry the 1. 6 times 3 is 18, carry the 1. With the 1 is 19. Since I had one decimal point in that number, I move over once here, and I have M equals. Now a negative times a positive makes a negative, so it's -19 and 2/10. For B, on both sides, I would divide by 5/6, divide by 5/6. So I'm really doing 7/24 times 6/5. I can simplify the 24 and the 6, take out a 6 on both of those. 6 divided by 6 is 1, 24 divided by 6 is 4. Now when I multiply straight across, I get 7/20. So I know I have C equals 7/20 as my answer. So solving equations with rational numbers, you've done equations, lots of equations now. The rational numbers shouldn't make them too much harder for you.